Today we will be talking about the splitting of S2 or the second heart sound. So heart sounds are basically the normal heart sounds are two. So first we have an S1 and we have an S2. So the first heart sound, which is the S1, it is produced by the closure of the tricuspid and the mitral valves. And the word here, the closure word, is important. And the reason for that is because opening of the heart does not produce any sound. So the closure of the heart produces vibrations, and the vibration will then be heard through the stethoscope. Then S2 is caused by the closure of, of the aortic valve and the pulmonic valve. So then the S2 is it can actually it can actually be two sounds, which is called the physiologic split. So we're going to talk about it in a minute. So the pulmonic component is called P2 and the aortic component is called A2. Okay, so now if you're gonna look at the chest, you know, the precordium, the front of the chest. So if this, let's say, is the rib, and then we have this, and this is the second intercostal space, let's just say, just for the understanding purposes. And then we have the, so first where do you hear the aortic sounds? The aortic sounds, this is the, let's say, the right side, and this is the left side. This is the sternum, and these are the ribs. Okay, these are the ribs. Okay, so the aortic sound is kind of heard here, okay, in the right second intercostal space. Here is the aortic, and the pulmonic is heard here. This is the pulmonic area, okay, so which is the left second intercostal space. Then at the left sternal border, at the left lower sternal border, we can hear the tricuspid. At the left sternal border, we hear the tricuspid. So the tricuspid wall is actually, it's actually a bit down. It is in the fifth intercostal space. So now if this is the second, this is the one, this is the second, and this is the third, this is the fourth, and this is the fifth. So here, so the, let's say this is the tricuspid area here. So this is the tricuspid valve, and then just lateral at the midclavicular line, let's say this is the midclavicular line, just lateral in the fifth intercostal space, we will hear the mitral valve. So this is the left area. So then, so the aortic valve is in the right second intercostal space. Okay, and okay, so now let's talk about the split now. So first is, let's talk about the physiologic split. So what is physiologic split? Physiologic split of S2 is a normal phenomenon. It occurs in a normal human being, and we are going to talk about how it happens. So let's say we have the chest, right? We have the chest, and in the chest, we have when you inspire. Okay, so during inspiration, during inspiration, there is decreased intrathoracic pressure. So just remember that blood will flow from an area of low pressure to an area of high pressure. Okay. So this decreased intrathoracic pressure, because of the inspiration, right? It will suck. So this decreased intrathoracic pressure, or the negative pressure, it acts as a suction pressure. So it will suck the blood up in towards the right ventricle. So increased blood towards the right ventricle, and that would then result in increased blood flow in the right ventricle, and the right ventricle would then have to get rid of all of that blood, that increased blood, and in doing so, the blood has to leave the pulmonic valve. So if we have, okay, so this is the right ventricle, and this is the right atrium, and here we have the pulmonic valve. This is a pulmonic valve, and there's increased blood here, okay, more because of the inspiration, because of the negative intrathoracic pressure. So now this blood as it moves out, right, out through the pulmonic valve, it will take more time for the pulmonary valve to close, right, because all of the blood, the heart has to get rid of all of the increased blood. So that will delay the closure of the pulmonic valve. Okay, and while the left heart, there is no increase to blood flow to the left heart during inspiration, so the aortic valve will remain the same. So normally during expiration, so this is the P2, and let's say this is the A2, so they're together. Okay, this is normally how it is when you inspire. So this is expiration. So when you, as you inspire, because of the increased blood flow that the right ventricle has to get rid of, this would then result. So aortic component will stay at its normal site. You know, it will close at its normal time. Okay, but during expiration, this pulmonic valve, it will be delayed because of the increased blood flow that has to the right ventricle has to get rid of before the valve closes. Okay, so this is physiologic split. Okay, this whole thing is the physiologic split. And when you inspire again, when you expire again, so this is expiration, so this is expiration, this is inspiration, and then when you expire again, you will come back to your normal positions, a single S2. Okay, so this was the physiologic split. So this is what happens normally. So this was physiologic. Okay, so this was physiologic split. Okay, so now let's talk about some kind of abnormal heart sounds. Okay, so abnormal, let's first talk about the wide split of S2. So in wide split can occur because of there is pathology that is causing delayed closure of the pulmonic valve. So if this is your right ventricle, and this is the right atrium, and this is the pulmonic valve. So now what pathology can cause delayed closure of this valve? So first, pulmonic stenosis. Pulmonic stenosis. So what it means is that this valve is narrow and it's difficult to open. Okay, so it's really narrow, and the right ventricle is unable to open it easily. So it takes more time for the right ventricle to open it. Hence, the opening of the pulmonic valve will be delayed. But it won't be delayed just in inspiration. It will be delayed even when the patient is expiring. You know, normally it will be delayed. So it's not like physiologic split. Okay. Then another condition is the right bundle branch block. So there are normally the electrical pathways here that contracts the right ventricle. So now when that pathway is blocked, okay, so the speed of conduction of the impulses, of the nerve impulses, will be delayed to the right ventricle. And when that impulse is delayed, there will be delayed contraction of the right ventricle, and there will be delayed pulmonic valve closure. So that's the second cause. So what happens here during expiration? So if this is the P2, this will be A2. Okay. Remember, in the physiologic split, we talked about that they are together during expiration, but here they're already apart even during expiration. Okay. Then when you inspire, you will further delay the right ventricular emptying, or the closure. You will further delay the closure of the pulmonary valve because of the increased blood flow to the right ventricle. So this will then result during expiration. This will be delayed further. So this is abnormal widening. Okay, this is called a wide split. Okay, so this whole thing is called a wide split, and it is way wider than the normal physiologic split, and it will be also wide even during expiration. And when you inspire, it will come back to normal. Okay, it will come back to normal. it will be here, P2, and that is A2. So this is expiration, this is inspiration, and this is expiration. So pulmonic stenosis and right bundle branch block are the causes of this wide split. Then another abnormal split is the fixed split. Okay, is the fixed split of S2. So when does that happen? Well, that happens. So let's just simply draw a really simplified diagram just to represent the heart chambers. So if this is the right atrium, this is the right ventricle, this is the left atrium, this is the left ventricle. So in some people, this interatrial septum, okay, between the right atrium and the left atrium, there is a defect between these two chambers. So there's a defect in the interatrial septum, and that is called a condition called ASD, or atrial septal defect. So if this is present, then in these individuals, because the left side of the heart has a higher pressure than the right side of the heart, there will increase blood flow at all times from the left atrium towards the right atrium, and from the left atrium to the right atrium, and from the right atrium to the right ventricle, and then out through the pulmonic valve. Okay, so there is already all the time there is increased flow towards the right ventricle. So what will that do? So it's like you're inspiring all the time, you know, but you're actually not inspiring. It's because of the ASD, the defect in the atrial septum. So it's already so the pulmonic valve will be all the time delayed regardless of inspiration or expiration. Okay, because there is a constant increase in blood flow towards the right ventricle, and constant increase in constantly delayed pulmonary valve closure, because the right ventricle has to get rid of all of that blood, and it takes time. So what will happen to the split then? It will be a fixed split regardless of inspiration or expiration. So if it is P2 and this will be A2, so this will be delayed. Okay, and even when you inspire, the delay will not, there will be no more further delay of P2, because inspiration, what does inspiration cause? It increases the blood flow to the right ventricle. Well, the right ventricle is already receiving increased blood flow, so it's not going to further delay the P2. Okay, so if this is A2, then this will be P2. Okay, so yeah, so the split is not increased, it's going to be at the same level. So this is expiration and this is inspiration, and again on inspiration it will be just a fixed split. So this delay is fixed. Okay, and it occurs in atrial septal defect. Another abnormality is the paradoxical split. Paradoxical split. So what happens here? So now paradoxical means it's just abnormal, like, you know, contrary to the common thing. You will see an abnormal, unusual thing so happening, like you wouldn't expect it. So it occurs. So for example, if I am drawing here the left ventricle and the mitral valve and the left atrium and left ventricle, and out I am kind of drawing the aorta and the aortic valve. So this is the aortic valve. So what happens in the paradoxical split is the aortic valve closure is delayed. So what can cause that? So, well, the first is aortic stenosis. Just like pulmonic stenosis, it will be harder for the left ventricle to open that stiff stenotic or narrowed aortic valve, and hence, because it is delayed, because it is harder, it takes time for it to open the aortic valve. The aortic valve closure will be delayed. Okay, another thing that can cause the delayed closure of the aortic valve is the left bundle branch block. Again, there are electrical signals here. If they are blocked, then there will be delayed signaling and delayed ventricular emptying and contraction, and hence delayed aortic opening. So another cause is the left bundle branch block on the left side, okay, of the heart. So now what will happen during expiration now? Well, during expiration, actually you will hear a split during expiration, so that is really unusual. And why does that happen? Well, you will hear the P2 at its normal positioning, just like in expiration, just like in normal expiration. but the A2 here will be delayed. Okay, so it's really abnormal because of these pathologies, because of these defects. Okay, so, and it occurs even in expiration. Okay, then so this is why it is called paradoxical split, because A2 is never delayed, but here we have A2 delayed. But what happens during inspiration? So during inspiration, there will be increased blood flow, like we talked about. So there is increased blood flow to the right ventricle during inspiration because of the decreased intrathoracic pressure, and hence there will delayed P2. And when the P2 is delayed, it will come closer here. It will come closer towards the A2. And so what will happen then? Well, the paradoxical split will be no longer a split. So it will come closer here because it will also be delayed, and hence when both are delayed, they will be together again. But they will be together during inspiration, which is unusual because normally in inspiration they are split, but here in expiration they are split. So it's really abnormal. So, and it occurs because of the phenomena that we talk about, and that is inspiration. And then again on expiration, it will be a split. It will be a split. All right. So this was just a little topic about the splitting of S2, and I hope this was helpful. And if you do find it helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. It just helps me motivate more to make these lectures. So hope this whole thing was helpful. Thank you for watching.